Good afternoon. Thank you for those that are able to join us today. I'm excited to share a little bit about calibration marketing with you all. Invite Sean McKale of Becker to tell us a little bit about what they have coming up for the Academy Show 2024. Talk about their MyLine ankle. So, a lot to cover. We invite you to ask questions, engage. This is to give you an opportunity to kind of have that more personal time with Sean and everything that Becker has to offer ahead of the Academy Show. Before we get started, I just wanted to give a little plug about what the heck is calibration marketing. After 8 years in upper limb prosthetics, I'm able to kind of branch off on my own and do a little bit with helping smaller entities, clinics with any kind of marketing that they need, help out with content creation, social, all the things that we all feel like we need to do, we should do, but nobody's got the time. And there's also not necessarily a capacity to bring on a full-time person. So if there's ever a need, feel free to reach out, drop me a message, Linda Calabria, drop me a message on the Calibration Marketing LinkedIn page. Let's have a chat. Let's start to understand what it is that you need. Maybe it's something you can do on your own, but I'm always here to have a good conversation and see if there's any need that you might have for some ad hoc support or what have you. But without further ado, I wanted to invite Sean to the stage and have him tell us a little bit more about himself, about Becker Orthopedics, and what to look forward to at Academy as we dive into this larger conversation.
Sure. Hey, Linda, thanks for inviting me today. I really appreciate your engagement with the O&P field and trying to spread the message of what we're doing in the field as well. And the opportunity to preview a little bit of what I'm excited about at the Academy meeting. Obviously, we want to capture as many attendees, eyes as we can. I think it's easy to overlook sometimes a company you're real familiar with. I think a lot of people in the O&P field are familiar with Becker. But it's good, and just reminding the clinicians out there, touch in with those that you're familiar with as well. See what's new out there, because a lot of people still don't know that we did launch new ankle joints at the start of 2023 in February last year. So just 1 year out with some of our newer MyLine ankle joints. The triple action joint has been out since 2016. And still meeting and talking to clinicians who've never used it before, never really had the opportunity to learn about it, still doing workshops where it's really the first time someone's heard or worked on that joint before. So we're really excited to talk to people about how they can create a different outcome for their patients using these components. And why they would choose those components for their patients. So,
and you're right. I know you and I talked about this ahead of this webinar, that those larger entities are always just kind of, I know what they've got. My guy will come and talk to me, my sales rep. So that's the goal of this webinar ahead of the Academy Show, just as you said, to give you more of a floor so that you can address some of what's coming and get more eyeballs interested to stop by your workshops that we'll highlight a little bit later, your product previews, and just go and have a chat in your booth.
Yeah, sure. And Becker, we're still a fairly small team compared to some of the other players in the field. And, we're so focused on orthotics. So we're here to be your partner in that and get you guys with the information and the help that you need to get the kind of outcome for your patient that you want. So, the first thing that will happen at the Academy meeting, of course, are the workshops. I'd love as many people to attend as possible. We're gonna spend more time really diving into the hands-on with the triple action joint, why you would consider that versus maybe using our MyLine components. the triple action joints have these stronger rated springs. The metal that we're using is stronger, makes them more durable. But really, it's that ability to adjust to the individual's need that's so unique about it. So we have a quick preview video here I show you of a patient, which I just love this video as an example of what we can accomplish and do for someone with spina bifida, for example, and a crouch gait. Just being able to really address all phases of the gait cycle for this individual. So, it's not just about that initial contact or mid stance or terminal stance. It's how she's swinging through the gait cycle too. And, initially when this child came to us, she was wearing solid ankle AFOs. And the frustration of the therapist and family was she really walked not any differently in those AFOs as she did when she wasn't wearing them. And the beautiful part is the goal of the therapist too was that they wanted range of motion and movement of the ankle joint for her. And we didn't just have to lock her up. We can give her some dynamic motion. These joints have 15 degrees of freedom in them. We're allowing, really an improvement of the gait pattern. And it's not only for me the outcome that we get, but the feeling and the results the patient gets that really made the difference. And what turned my head in this direction again as a clinician. So I got too excited about it that I ended up at Becker, and now I'm talking to people about it as well. So
no, it's exactly why I want to stay in this field for as long as I can, because there is so much happening, and there's constant movement, and there's just new products, new technologies coming out. It feels like monthly sometimes.
Yeah, of course. And, it is excited for us too, to have new product opportunities, and really just trying to give clinicians more tools to use as well too. And it's a lot as a clinician to know which tool do I pull out of my toolbox, how am I going to use it, and you've got to meet the patient's needs and desires as well too.
Right.
And that's where sometimes the triple action will be the answer for patients. Other times it may not be, might be too much. Because of the fabrication of triple action and the things we learned as a fabricator of components, we thought, well, we could also make our more legacy or traditional components better too, in terms of like the strength of the springs, the metal that's used for the component itself. So really, my line is about a update to our traditional componentry, giving it a higher performance. Kind of all of the things we've been learning since 2016 brought to the clinicians now in a newer product that gives that performance, but also gives it more of the familiarity that some of our traditional products have as well too. And for certain patients, that's the tool they're going to want to pull out of their toolbox.
Right.
And we'll be doing a product preview with the MyLine in the exhibit hall on Friday for that. But you can come and learn more on that if you want. And if you can, sorry, can you pull that slide up just to show it?
There you go.
Great. And so just to say, we'll introduce this product and how it's different from our traditional components, and we still want to see how the field is using these components and learning from those individuals. But just to say, this is another tool in your toolbox. And, sometimes you could use a metal joint like this, a mechanical joint next to a tamarack or a free motion companion joint on the opposite side of the ankle, giving you more design flexibility and opportunity with your patient who maybe wouldn't accept a AFO that's larger or bulkier because of that, but you want the mechanical advantages that these joints have to offer. So really want to kind of teach people about the opportunities they have with such components. If you don't have an opportunity to come and speak one of our talks, either the workshop or on stage, come to our booth. Let's have a chat about what you're seeing there. Love to know the experience that people have had in the field. Share, how to help improve the work and outcomes that you're having as a clinician. So,
yeah, and I know, in terms of that kind of tools in your toolbox, obviously it's something that I'm used to talking a lot about as well.
Sure.
And so everything that you're sharing is new to me because I come from the world of upper limb prosthetics, and
Right.
I really haven't jumped into the world of orthotics. Obviously, it's a very important piece of the O&P puzzle. And like we said earlier too, there's constant change. And I know within my world, there has been talk of 3D printing and scanning and all these things. And it's something we touched on before hopping on in terms of what do you feel about these changes? I know there's been some updates to the guidance about 3D printing and allowing for additive manufacturing.
Sure. First of all, I love that the field has this level of diversity for clinicians as well too, and it's great that people can specialize and be a prosthetist and only do upper limb or do lower limb, and in orthotics you can do cranial or spinal or lower limb. I think a lot of orthotists, regardless, will interact and interface a lot with lower extremity orthotics. Obviously, we do a lot of KFO building as well too at Becker, and people know us for that and send us a lot of that work. But the lower limb orthotic has such an impact and opportunity to really change the quality of life for so many people. And that engagement of figuring out what is the patient's goal and what is their desires really has to match with then what are you building and doing for them,
And that's the case anywhere, right? Regardless of whether it's the O or the P side, you always, it's all, it's such a critical part of the conversation, and making sure, like you said, matching those goals. Don't just give them a tool because it seems right to you. They'll never use it, and it won't improve their outcome.
I love what's happening with 3D printing too, giving more variety to clinicians and opportunity to clinicians as well too. It has to be tied to that outcome ultimately. I don't think we just want to wrap people in plastic or DPU or whatever material we're making a device out of. It has to create the end result. And our value proposition as orthotists is to give people the best gait possible. And if your orthotic does that, then fantastic. But I think there's challenges in 3D printing, of course, with integration of componentry. And we've certainly seen people attempt and work with some of our components in this manner. I think there's more work that needs to be done. Part of the challenge is what we're providing too as a manufacturer of components, because of the need to bend the metal and shape the metal and how that integrates into your design as well too. But those challenges can be overcome, over time and with learning and how we work together and understand each other's problems, I think. So I just think if you're only, we don't want to become like a physiatrist I used to work with would say orthopedists are like carpenters who only have hammers, when everything becomes a nail. And so if surgery is all you do, you want to do surgery on everybody. I think, we need to be able to diversify our approaches for our patients too. And there are patients absolutely that I want to put a mechanical ankle joint on and they want to improve their gait, and maybe I'm anticipating fluctuation in their condition or rehabilitative need that is going to hopefully change or improve. And I want to have something that's adjustable. And then there are people who are going to want the very skinniest, most invisible thing as possible too. And there might be compromise there in what it can do for them to correct their gait, but that's what they're willing or able to accept. So that's one of the challenges we face at the evaluation appointment as clinicians, and having that open conversation about what can and cannot be accomplished is really important for that trust that we develop and the relationship, as well as ultimately the outcome, because making anything that sits in someone's closet or in their drawer is not helpful at all. So,
Right. For sure.
I've always believed if something enables somebody to do more, they're going to want to wear it. And for me, that is about giving someone the most amount of freedom, helping them to walk in the best fashion as possible. A lot of orthotic designs overly block plantar flexion. That accelerates that knee forward and causes a kinematic problem for them. What drew me back to using ankle joints like this again is our ability to resist plantar flexion and slow the moment from initial contact to foot flat, help that knee to not be over accelerated, which helps the whole kinematic events of stance phase. And if we I guess that's why I latched on to using these components again. And I'm someone who really, I stopped using mechanical ankle joints because they would fail. The springs would break.
Interesting.
There would be problems with those. And I've had to turn my head when these newer multifunctional ankle joints came on the market, because just the impact and changes you can make without those failures, because they are so much more durable. So understanding that they look similar, they don't function the same way. They don't have the same kind of failure issues because the engineering and componentry is made very differently, which we'll certainly get into in my courses. So
yeah. No, and so you took the words out of my mouth. Speaking of those courses, I know obviously you guys have a lot of Becker has a lot of online training and is very heavily focused on education, making sure that those prosthetists, as you mentioned earlier, and all the clinicians within this field are well versed and know who to fit, how to fit, so on and so forth.
And we're working on trying to get more up there.
Gotcha.
Currently, a number of our courses have recently expired in their CEUs. So
okay.
I'm actually in the process of trying to update those at the moment and even get more posted. So please, if you're not connected with me, connect on LinkedIn. And as we get more of those offerings updated on our education site too, we'll make sure to post online to let people know that they're updated and back online again. Certainly for me, it was a great opportunity during the COVID period of time to get some of those CEUs easily. I was still in clinical practice at the time, and certainly how I also engaged with learning more about triple action. When the first time I picked it up, I grabbed it and I was turning the screws all the wrong way. I hadn't read the instructions, just like
who does?
Never guilty of that, right? But you need to go and tap into your resources, call and have a conversation with the people at the company that you're trying to work with. Don't struggle. There are people out here with the experience and knowledge that can help you to move you along and get the results you need. So, please, looking forward to engaging and talking with people at this academy. It's always a great experience.
Yeah, no, and I assume that you also have a team that will go out to a clinic to train clinicians if that's needed, or they can come to wherever you're holding these courses if they're not online, such as at Academy.
Yeah, again, I think Becker's still a bit of a smaller company than some of the other manufacturers out there. Fair. But we have a large reach, and so we do a lot online. I do a lot of this kind of talking or presenting one-on-one or with clinical groups or other groups online. And then I'm traveling for a lot of the major conferences and some of the smaller ones. Just it depends. Occasionally my wife likes me to stay at home too. Unfortunately, I have someone who actually enjoys being married to me. So I have to be a little mindful of how much I can do as well too. But yeah, we're always trying our best to engage, and I think we've really got a great group of people who work at Becker and are interested in helping our customers. One of the big important things for us as a company too is to be able to give clinicians the tools through our manufacturing practice so that they can build the device that they think is going to work best for their patients. And if you don't have that opportunity in your own lab, our CFAB would love to help you and work with you to make the AFOs or KFOs that you need, or the type of devices that we're able to manufacture for you. So
I'm sure that's a huge help to especially those smaller clinics throughout the country.
Well, and I think even like just the need to see so many more patients, it's just the change in how the
Yeah.
field is moving towards more of a central fabrication model. But you need to have good communication.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh,
there
there
we
you
are.
are.
Yeah, need to be able to communicate with each other. You need to make sure you know how to answer the questions on an order form,
Yeah.
so that you get back what you're expecting to get back as well too. So if you have concerns or don't know what you're filling out is going to be complete or not, make sure to reach out so you have good clarification
Hmm.
and anticipate that you're getting back what you want. And if you don't get back what you want, also communicate that with CFAB or anyone you're working with, because that's how you can learn. Well, how could I have described this differently? This wasn't what I was expecting, So
Hmm.
those are real important lessons, I think, for us as clinicians. And I think people get knowledgeable and comfortable with the people they're working with too, because they learn that communication is really the biggest key to that success for us. So
Oh, for sure. And you may be smaller than the other larger
yeah,
conglomerates, but still the fact, to me, it's always, you can be as small as 10 people, but if you have thought through those after sale as well as just general support functions internally, and you can provide that to your customers and to the end user,
for
you
sure.
have surpassed some of the larger entities that maybe are doing a lot of hand holding, but they're not able to provide that one-on-one interaction. So I think it's huge
And I
regardless
think
of your size.
that's why Becker's been as successful as it has been in the 91-year history, right?
Hmm.
It's just that expected quality that you get, the durability of the componentry. People expect to get something that's going to work, and it does. And we can rely on that, and that trust is really important for clinicians and for the end users as well,
Absolutely.
who have to wear or utilize these devices. So.
Yeah. No, and I don't see any questions come up, but I will put this up just so we can share this with anybody that's online.
Yep.
Again, booth 316, March 6th through the 9th. And as you said, Sean, your workshop and your showcase, if there's anything else you wanted to add on those things.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, we look forward to the opportunity. I know you've got so many choices when you go to these conferences. Feel honored if you're willing or interested to come and hear us. But really know that we're there to help support you as both a customer and a partner in the care of your patients. So I want to thank you for this opportunity again, Linda, to
Oh,
speak
yeah.
and appreciate what you're doing for our field of O&P to promote everyone. And all I did was answer a survey question you posted online saying
And I was so thrilled.
I'd be interested to chat. I love the engagement of being on LinkedIn because I'm learning and seeing, and it's inspiring thoughts and considerations. And I follow all sorts of people, not just in O&P,
Yeah.
but I think it's a great environment for us to be in. I've really enjoyed what it's turned into. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I have trouble turning it off as it is, right?
I know.
And
Yeah, it's I think that's, as we spoke about a little bit earlier too,
yeah,
even if your majority of your interactions and your education is online and digital, I think that's one of the good things that came out of those COVID times,
sure.
that everybody started going online, and it made the world so much smaller, and it's so much easier to interact for the two of us to interact. And
Yeah,
even I didn't know you a month
right,
ago, and
right.
it's now I do, and now I'll come visit your booth.
Yeah, and I look forward
And
to
we're
seeing
doing this.
you. Great.
So, one last point. The next webinar is March 4th. I'll have Ted Varley and Nate McAbog of Cogent America and Koala Prosthetics on, respectively. So thank you, everybody, for joining today, and we'll see you next time.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Take care.
Thanks.